So for the next session, before we go for our breakfast, I like the fact that Benjamin is familiar with everyone. So Benjamin Okoli will be sitting as Baspi Automated Security Awareness Platform. We call it PSR. And we promise to make it an interactive session. So I like the fact that everybody is using up already. We are already getting to know each other. So thank you, Benjamin.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Once again, Benjamin Okoli. So Precious Manager for Kaspersky supporting the African market. Just some quick introduction. There's some lies too. I heard someone say everybody already great. Everyone is pumped. But before the next KSS, everything that was there most likely have been covered. And I'll give you an example. Most of us here are frequent travelers, frequent flyers. We all go to the airport every now and then, go to Abuja, go to where. And we've seen the safety demonstration a number of times, right? Something will fall out, let's cover our nose, let's pick up the life vest. We've seen a number of these things. But the interesting question now is if we need to actually react or do these things that we've seen, how many of us can actually do it from our mind? Without any guidance, how many of us can actually? If you feel you can do it, show of hands. I'm an excellent pilot. So I'll be giving you we have Mr. Martin at the back, happy to help us. I'm going to be giving us the pilot's voice, and then we would have the demonstration from my able cabin crew. Okay, you send it to me. No, perfect. But you find that it's really interesting to remember it on demand or to make it part of our lives. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing because thankfully maybe nothing has really happened to make us use this thing. Okay? But this is the same thing when it comes to raising awareness or passing knowledge in any way, shape, or form. How do we make sure it sticks? And this is why we created this platform on the Kaspersky side called the Automated Security Awareness Platform. We go to the next slide. This next slide conversation is going to be very interesting. In fact, I'm going to have to this next slide almost every time. Perfect. If we want to look at the human factor, I think we're all aware of that. Probably as strong as our weakest link. And you find some very lovely user in the organization really interested in that salary review, and he clicks on that lovely link to the HR portal, and now we're compromised, right? We just spoke about that vulnerability within Chrome, where it's just as simple as clicking a link. And this user was so interested in this salary review, and it cost the organization a lot of money. We're seeing these are real world examples. Next. Financial impact is massive, as you can already see. We're talking like millions of dollars in the enterprise space. Maybe up to $50,000 in the SME space per incident or per year. Those numbers are quite massive. I'll go to the next slide as well. And these are like the barriers that we spoke about earlier. There's so many people that I need to train, so many different knowledge levels. How am I trying to find the perfect balance? How do I ensure that what I roll out is good for everyone? It's such a difficult task, right? So these are definitely gaps. Knowledge is not retained. How do I control progress, right? How do I know that this person is at this level? The next one is, how do I actually run phishing campaigns if I wanted to? So if I wanted to gauge and see, this is my lovely users in-house that have said they've completed all of these trainings, they're taking all of these tests, how do I actually test them with some practical scenarios? And I'll give you one really cool example as well. It's something we use to pass the message. I used to be in an organization where I managed ASAP for the awareness platform. And I walked into a room where I saw some of the guys having a conversation. It was financial stuff, and I like money. So I sat with them. They're talking about NFT. It was such an interesting conversation talking about how much money you can make from the NFT. Really know. But I could already tell their interest. You know what I did? I went back to the platform and I thought of something very devious. I was like, it'd be cool to take an NFT template and test my users. And I took it, I prepped it, and I sent it to these guys, just leveraging on the information that they shared. Everyone clicked, everyone in that conversation, because they were expecting it. And the message we're trying to pass at that point was, you see, the attackers also will not always throw mud on the wall to see what sticks. Sometimes they're actually very much aware of your interests. They did not wake up one day and choose you. There's been some work, some reconnaissance, understanding your activity on social media, understanding, and all of these things are then leading us to the kind of content that we also need to be putting out there to users, such as the use of social media and messaging, things like that. Because these guys can gain a lot of information about. It's not just let's not click on this phishing link. Let's not once they start to background inside the mail, it's a phishing link. We're looking at like neural network reading phishing mails. Very difficult to actually block. So we move beyond all of that. And so we have this platform that is also always leveraging on Kaspersky's 28 years now. So on 27th of June, Kaspersky turned 28. With over 28 years of experience we've used into creating content for the users within the organization of different knowledge levels. We're talking about something for the beginner, something for the intermediary level, something for the advanced level, and so on. And not just the basics, not just simple concepts. We're understanding how AI can also play a role here. And we need to make our users aware of this. So we have these trainings that are giving them insight into deep things. There was the Brad Pitt one. I don't know if anyone saw it, where some French lady was having because she thought she was chatting with Brad Pitt. And they actually had video calls, videos, and she felt that she was, even had a call with Brad Pitt's mom, where she was telling her how much she appreciated her effort at taking care of her son. And Brad Pitt was apparently in the hospital, and then they took her home. Right? We need to make everybody aware that these things exist, so we can't just rely on the basis of, oh yeah, let's not click on this thing. And when you receive this attachment, don't be in a haste to open it. Yes, these things exist, so we need to go beyond. So, next slide. Yeah, what is the Kaspersky approach? We're looking at engagement and motivation. How do we make it interesting for you? Right? We need to first off get your commitment towards participation before we then move on to start delivering things to you. So how do we engage you? How do we motivate you? These are things that we find within the platform. We found a very creative way, some reinforcement emails, one providing like content, graphic content that you can download within the organization, use them around flyers, wallpapers, posters, things like that, that you can also like white label them, and also provide like certificates of completion as well for the user. Now, there's something that the trend in the Middle East, and the trend is these guys start to ask users when you want to employ them about their awareness background, security awareness background. But they're not asking you to bring CompTIA Plus or anything. They just want to know if, if we're recruiting you for a marketing role, it's interesting, but do you have any experience around user awareness, just security awareness? And it's not like it's a factor for them to deny you, but it can definitely be something for them to consider you even more when you have that certificate of completion, right? It's a trend in the Middle East, who knows when it gets here. I don't know, maybe some people are doing it already. But this can also be like an additional way to motivate our users to actually gain this stuff. And you leverage it on a platform that's providing much more content than a lot of the other platforms out there. So the kinds of certificates that you get in on topics that you get in, it's really good. Then the knowledge level assessments, the actual learning itself, and then just putting everything together with all of our years of experience and the practical skills that you actually gain. Okay, that's it. I think we do next slide. See, these are the times where I miss having a clicker. Having a clicker would have been much better. But anyways, we deliver the offering via some by default SaaS offering. So it's asap.caspersky.com, and want to log in there and have a trial, play around, or reach out to us and we can give you a more interesting feel. But we have the SaaS offering, but for anyone with maybe data sovereignty concern, we're also able to deploy on-premise. This is something we're also able to do. And as with any platform that is providing training, there's two sides. One side is the user experience, which is the trainings. Are they engaging? Are you learning anything? And then there's the other side, which is the administrative side. So at the admin, what visibility do you get? And so on our platform, you're also getting from the admin side, anyways, you're getting information such as who is behind schedule, who is significantly behind schedule, who is on track, who is ahead of schedule, and who is well ahead of schedule. And so maybe we need to take a step back again and understand how exactly does this platform works as well. You bring your users onto the platform either via integration with the Active Directory, or we use some Excel document to bring users in, templates, whatever. And then there's groups. So we have 3 groups created on the platform by default, low risk, average risk, high risk. All of these guys by default have some training programs assigned to them. But you can create your own custom groups and say, have my OT department. I want to give these guys something on industrial cybersecurity. That is, I want to give them that kind of awareness. You can assign to that group alone. And then we say, these guys handle our payment cards. Why don't I give them awareness related to PCI DSS? We have those training groups. And then we say, these guys are our marketers or social media guys. We want to give them something more in line with the use of social media, messenger, things like that, so we can assign those kinds of things to that group. And then pick more generic ones that don't cover password and account, email, and that. So we create these groups, add users to the group, and then all the platform we then do from here is create a 6 to 12 month training plan. So now we don't have to burden ourselves with having to create that content for the kids. So if you still want to sleep by it, that's fine. It's not additional layer. We'll never turn it down. But you have this ability to have this platform run everything for you automatically. It's all automated here. Is to create the whole plan, 6 to 12 months, week by week, we can see what is being done. It will handle pushing out reminders on the training, handling the reinforcement, pushing out reinforcement emails just to educate the users on what they learned, for example, 3 days ago. Introducing the things like even running a test, right? So the test will be part of it. And after that, as a part of the training plan, we will also run a phishing campaign. So the users don't complete a module until they've gone past, until they've successfully not clicked on phishing. The platform also allows us to play around with the phishing link, with the phishing simulation as well. And it allows us to introduce the concept of blind phishing. So, in one of our organizations in the past, there was this guy that received a salary increase in growth. And he sat and was enjoying his salary increase alone. He didn't tell anybody. He was there. And when someone was in the organization, someone else saw the mail, someone like, HR don't send phishing mail again. Yeah, I look back, I said, the phishing mail. So it's like, you received that thing like 2 hours ago, but you know what was they increase your salary. You hide the just quickly. But you see the problem here. Someone else has now updated everybody that there is a phishing link, there is a phishing bill that can be received. Now the guy was trying to high salary also now knows that that salary increase is not salary increase. So this challenge here is, how do we now roll out the campaign in a way where they can't tell themselves? This will give us a clearer representation of if our campaign is like what are the percentage. This is blind phishing. So we set up the landing page to be a 404. So when they click on that salary review link, 404, then everybody must be clicking on the link, the servers must be overloaded. Yes.
Uh-huh.
So now we can see those that will actually click without them having to start telling themselves, guys, I've taken the sacrifice for all of us, the efficient investment people. And we don't need that. We need to true representation of where we are at in terms of our general awareness for the organization. And we can leverage on that capability within the offering there and run phishing campaigns via blind. So this is also some like really interesting capability and functionality within the solution. Maybe next slide. I wish I had a good clicker. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, so this is just the representation of the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve, where we see that we started from a rather high level, 100%, and without having this reinforced learning, spaced learning, you find that knowledge level will just go all the way down. But when we introduce a more standard process to the learning, you find ways to retain that knowledge by this reinforcement that we spoke about, by the testing. So not just providing the theoretical bit, but as soon as people are starting to get some more practical knowledge on how to do it. Well, next slide. Yeah, so this is how we create those groups that we spoke about earlier. We can choose the topics that we want to assign, banker, security, PCI, DSS, those cyber security, physical data security, the different knowledge levels, beginner, elementary, intermediate, advanced, PC security, mobile devices, social media, messenger, website administrator, email, password and app, that's a whole lot of content available. Yeah, we have that. Okay, that's it. Yeah, just some show on how the courses actually the training, how the question will come, and things like that. Let's not show too much of the question. Next slide. Yeah, okay, next slide. Yeah, next slide. Okay. Yeah, okay. So now we're able to also like a few custom domains. We have a bunch of domain names available out of the box already. But we have a bunch of you have the ability to add custom domain. Like so if you have your own in-house domain name to push the phishing mails from your own domain, or you could buy one that is close to your organization name and then use it or bring it onto the platform and we push mails from there as well. And then maybe one last thing, because I think we're pretty much at the end here, is reporting a phishing mail or a suspicious mail. Now, if we run phishing campaign, users don't click and have proof for that. Like they understand that they've not clicked or something, or maybe for them it's fine. But for us on the administrative side, maybe it's not on the security analyst. Because the users might say, right, I didn't click on it, so it's not my fault. Ultimately, we don't know who else receives that mail within the organization. We don't know if they will click on it or not. If they click on it, remember, the whole organization has to face that compromise. So we need to create a convenient way for users to do that. So one of the reasons users will say, I saw this, I skipped it. I wasn't what I thought. I skipped it. They say this because of stress, right? We're human beings. I need to remember the email address of the security team. I need to attach this email. I need to send it to this user. I need to solve my operation. I need to do that. But it had a very convenient way to just click on one button and then it will just go. I don't need to remember. I don't need to attach anything. And this is the story behind how we created this report fish button. When you have this login, we generally integrate with Outlook. This one out. And have like an admin without and then what this stage is we can configure on our admins and then email addresses that those will be forwarded to them that is on that report. We set up everything on our side and they're ready. So at this point, if the user receives an email address that is an email that is believed to be suspicious, all they have to do is click report it. And you have to remember the email address of the security team. And you have to compose any dating, can you find patch, and you have to drag and so I did not for people like that. So just create this convenience, make everyone realize their role that they play in security for the organization. Again, we're only as strong as our weakest. So you kind of need to make our front line. We need to make them as strong as possible. We need to make them understand their role. We're all in this on this security journey together. Right. So yeah, that's mainly that from the ASAP platform. I think we can just wrap it up here for the sake of time. Again, if anyone is interested in demos, interested in POCs, we are always available to support. And then if maybe want a deep dive, deeper dive on this, this will be really good. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Benjamin. Thank you, Benjamin. Thank you. It was such an interactive section. So we are going to open up for question and answer, and we're going to run for 5 minutes. Thank you. So I can go for secrets. We don't have a breakout.
Yeah, thank you very much. I have two questions. One is on the security awareness. Currently, I use Microsoft Attack Simulation for phishing simulation, but the report is not that robust. It's very raw report, just an Excel sheet. So, do your platform has a more robust reporting? Then question number two is on your post presentation. Most of your security tool is more on endpoint. Do you have security around identity? Well, like you mentioned, that threat landscape has, but it's not just increasing, it's deepening. So you have a phishing threat and you keep having it every now and then. Do you have a threat? Do you have an intelligence around maybe identity that it says, okay, you've been receiving this particular pattern of email from this address from this location. Anytime it comes again, log it, don't allow it to drop. Security around identity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Sir. I think the first question on the reporting, I would like to leave on providing more much more robust reporting, but I'd much rather show you over a demo and we'll be happy to schedule something so you can see how that works. And when it's much more extensive, like the graphs, there's the beautification, the charts and all of that, it's much better. We call it an effectiveness report, but we also have the standard report as you mentioned in like an Excel format. So it's two options are available, so you pretty much decide what's best for you. Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Now on the second one of the like what do we have? So we don't have anything necessarily on identity, but we do have offerings within threat intelligence from our side. Again, it's down to sources, right? But we can actually find mentions of your assets, say maybe mentions of your organization on the dark web. Maybe there's an attack team that we see that maybe some APs they see that information we can alert you. When it comes to the actual remediation at that point, it's not necessarily a lot you can do. We can provide you the information and recommendations on what you should do, but it is down to the people who, like your security teams, to then implement. Right? So maybe do some things on mail server side, or if you have some email security guy, you can create some logs. And maybe even speaking on email security, we do have email security from Kaspersky, so we can cover creative subscribe and data security. From Kaspersky, we can run protection for your on-premise exchange servers, Linux mail servers, or maybe any mail server you have on-prem. We can cover these guys and still provide this anti-spam artificial anti-malware capabilities at that level as well.
Thank you, Benjamin. Thank you. We have enough as the.
Thanks, Benjamin. Great presentation. Two things that caught my attention really is about the custom domain. Maybe enlighten us a little bit more around that. Do you have a platform to create that domain, like you mentioned, buy a domain that is pretty much close to what you want to use as a simulation to your employees in quotes. Second question I noted down was plugins to Outlook. Do you also have plugins to other email domains, Zoho for instance? Yeah, what I enjoy the most is pretty much one-stop shop platform, end-to-end from simulation to awareness. So if that platform exists, what's the volume of users that can be onboarded that takes them through that entire journey? You understand? So of course the simulation part will be for administrators, security analysts, but again the awareness part, we can pretty much drive them from that simulation, the outcome of the simulation, and push them into the different killers of awareness, and then they begin to plug in and take the case studies and the journeys that cause to become pretty much cyber aware as a culture.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I just like you better.
Oh, my name is John.
Perfect. Okay, so but on the first part on the custom domains, we don't give you the platform to buy the domain, but there's a number of places you can buy the domains, right? When you buy the domains, for you to bring them onto the platforms, just by adding a few records, so SPF, DMARC, you add them onto the platform so you get it from your brand, and then we can now start to use that. So I think the verification is like 6 hours or something, just to verify that this domain belongs to you, and then you can start to roll out phishing mails from that domain. And then on the client part, the mail as of now, main mail client which we support is Outlook. We are definitely still doing some work to expand this coverage as this is part of our R&D roadmap for the product. But for now, it's just Outlook. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Benjamin. My name is Steve Nishus Morocco from Chicago Group. As regards the Tesla, I use it in organization to bundle with the option. So what I'm saying, the other economy, some people might like to have this. Right? Is there no way you can embed it on some of these products, even if not the true version? Okay, it's also help us because I look at the economy here. So when I got my Razor, it was a bit, they tried to bundle it for a discount. So what I'm saying again is this, like some of those threats, like my brother said about intelligence. If you notice that some of them, the environment departments that we set up, usually blacklisted. But what happens, we've not been able to see if those threats are still correct. So at your own end, what do you do? Those things.
So I think I missed the question a bit, but I also think I got it. So I'm trying to collect the thought. Okay, for the first part, the bundle.
Yeah.
It is. I feel like bundles are very interesting conversation if you ask me, right? It's almost like how some vendor will tell you they're selling something 20,000 naira, and then on Black Friday they will put 50,000 naira slash 20,000 naira Black Friday. So it's like the bundle is there. I can give you the bundle, and it will still look. It will say, "Oh, this is the bundle," and it's the same price you actually will pay for having them stand alone with some level of discount out there, something like that. So I don't really look at bundles from maybe like a pricing side. For me, I look at it from maybe a single license side. So, for example, instead of having one key for ASAP, one key for ER, it's a single key that you use on the two platforms, and so that's the way I prefer to look at bundles. Because if I'm looking at bundles any other way, I just feel like it's very open to being tricked into feeling like you're paying less. But so you pay for two, or you're still paying for two, it seems like you're paying for one. It's just some level of obscurity. But we do have something coming up. It's the XDR opt-in. So when we launch it, you be the first to know that kind of addresses your concerns, and then it will have some really interesting things like integrating with Active Directory and being able to block accounts from your user. Yeah, so you block user account. Maybe you set some lateral movements, find user account block from media. Something that we plan to release, I believe, later this year or early next year. I'm not, I can't remember at the moment. But yes, it will come as a bundle. But in terms of pricing, I can't tell you if it's going to be cheaper than you paying standalone. Just negotiate the best discount to the next one. Yeah. We'll tell you about that. But yeah, and then for I think the other one was around intelligence, right?
The blacklisted softwares.
Yes. So it's not very straightforward to blacklist some. So for example, we have something called threat infrastructure tracking within our intelligence. And what we do within the threat infrastructure tracking is we work with sets. So we like the national sets for normal countries. We provide this kind of information to them. And what they do is they then work with the ISP. So within the first infrastructure tracking, we're providing IP addresses, like infrastructure being used by adversaries. And so they take this information of the infrastructure being used by adversaries, we work with the ISPs, find the physical locations that actually shut down the infrastructure, right? So this is the kind of thing that we can do, like for example, we partner with Interpol, partner with Afripol. This is the extent, but ultimately there still needs to be work to be done on your side. So if your team has some insight on something, on your mail protection system, you can create these rules to prevent like mails falling from those something like six or exactly. So you have a report, intelligence reporting, you see some delivery mechanism to be via email, and email will come from this email address, things like that.